In the 19th century, a great military philosopher described war as a complete unknown. In fact, he said, once you enter war, you enter into a fog. Much later, in 2002, Donald Rumsfeld, who basically was a Republican thug, almost poetically analysed war in these words. He said, there are known knowns, there are things we know. We also know there are known unknowns. That is to say, we know that there are things we do not know. But there are also unknown unknowns. The ones we don't know. That seems incredibly contrived. But when we think of the Iran war, I think that this is proven to be true. Because the Americans believed, quite wrongly, that they could bomb their way to victory. They also said that they thought that if they murdered the entire Iranian leadership, that what would happen would be that the people of Iran would rise up and then there would be regime change for the benefit of America and Israel. That's very, very unlikely. However, what Rumsfeld said and what he absolutely highlighted was the fact that once you enter a war, you are also creating new dynamics, and that those dynamics are unknown. You don't know who's going to become a leader. You don't know whether the people will follow him. You don't know whether the suffering of the people will be decisive or indecisive. Well, history tells us that bombing always fails, and so that part of it was a known known. But what was a known unknown? The known unknown was, what would Iran do once they'd been bombed? Well, what they chose to do was to bomb the Gulf states and the bases, the American bases in the Gulf states. And that was a big surprise. And it was an even bigger surprise when they were successful. And what was the unknown unknown? Well, the unknown unknown was the fact that high-tech, super sophisticated, massively expensive weaponry was nullified. And what had happened was that relatively cheap and relatively easily created weapons were more successful than multi-million pound sophisticated aeroplanes and missiles. One American statesman said that when they were firing at the incoming Iranian drones, it was like firing Ferraris at a frisbee. Donald Rumsfeld was completely right. He's an American philosopher, an American military philosopher, but of course, everybody ignores philosophers.